Welcome to the Ultimate Sports Podcast. Today is Tuesday, April 9, 2019. Let's just get right into it. Last night, Virginia goes from laughingstock after losing to 16th seeded UMBC to national champions, 85-77 winners over Texas Tech in overtime. It was a great game. Texas Tech had the lead, and then DeAndre Hunter hit the shot of his life, a game-tying three-pointer to pretty much force overtime as Texas Tech couldn't get a shot off in the final seconds. Hunter had 27 points for Virginia. Kyle Guy had 24, including 4 big three-pointers. Ty Jerome had 16. Meanwhile, for Texas Tech, Jarrett Culver had 15 points and 9 boards. 0 for 6 from 3, shot 5 for 22 from the game. That's not good. David Moretti had 15 points. Matt Mooney had 10. Their bench actually produced it for Tech, but Virginia got away with their bench not doing anything. And the big games by Hunter and Guy and their three-point shooting really are why Virginia won this game. Good for Tony Bennett. He deserves this. He has to be mentioned among the great coaches in the sport now that finally have a ring. That was the knock against Jay Wright a few years ago, but he finally broke through. Now has 2 rings, and I think that this is very, very well deserved, and this is one of the better stories you're going to see in sports. After you make history in a bad way by losing to a 16 seed, being the first 1 seed to do it, and then the next year rebounding and winning the title, that is just tremendous doings by that program. Now I'm going to talk about baseball. I'm going to go through the results from yesterday. Wasn't many games because some teams are traveling. Rays over the White Sox 5-1. Tampa's 8-3. Chicago's 3-6. Blake Snell with the win. He's 2-1. Carlos Rodon with the loss. He's 1-2. And Hunter Wood with the save, his first of the year. Top of the first, bases loaded walk by Guillermo Heredia. 1-0 Rays. Sacrifice fly, Giant Man Choi, 2-0 Rays. Top of the second, bunt single, Daniel Robertson, 3-0 Rays. RBI single by Avisail Garcia, 4-0 Rays. Bottom of the fifth, home run, Jose Rondon to make it a 4-1 game. Top of the eighth, bases loaded walk, Austin Meadows made it 5-1. That's your final. Blake Snell, 6 innings, 6 hits, an earned run, no walks, 11 strikeouts, ERA 2.84. He's bounced back nicely after the rough opening day start against Houston. Carlos Rodon, 4 2/3 innings, 8 hits, 4 runs, 5 walks, and 9 strikeouts. Very inconsistent numbers. 3.38 ERA, though. Cubs over the Pirates, 10-0. A much-needed win for the Cubs. They're 3-7. Pittsburgh's 5-4. But the bad news for the Cubs is that John Lester departed with left hamstring tightness. Meanwhile, the Cubs still get the win. And Lester actually had an RBI double in the bottom of the second to give the Cubs a 1-0 lead. 2-run single by Ben Zobrist put them up 3-0. RBI single, Anthony Rizzo 4-0. RBI single, Javier Baez 5-0. Rizzo scores on the error by Kevin Newman to make it 6-0 Cubs. Bottom of the third, Ben Zobrist grounds into a double play run, scores 7-0 Cubs, and RBI double by Chris Bryant made it 8-0. And in the bottom of the fourth, 2-run shot, Kyle Schwarber made it 10-0. It stayed 10-0 for the rest of the game. Lester only pitched 2 innings, 3 hits, no runs, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. His ERA is 2.57. Credit to the bullpen, Brad Brock, Brandon Kinsler, Randy Rosario, and Pedro Strop. They got the job done, and they shut the Pirates down. And meanwhile, Jameson Taillon had to leave after 2 innings because he got hit by a 102-mile-per-hour fastball. He was 2 innings, 4 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. His ERA is 3. Their bullpen of Stephen Brawl, Francisco Liriano, and Nick Birdie didn't get the job done. And their offense couldn't hit either. And Brock got the win, and he's 1-0. Taillon the loss. He's 0-2, by the way. Astros over the Yankees 4-3. Astros 6-5. Yankees 5-5. Brian Presley the win. He's 1-0. Adam Ottavino the loss. He's 1-1. Roberto Osuna gets his 3rd save of the year. Top of the third, RBI single. Luke Voigt went out to the Yanks. Bottom of the fourth, home run Jose Altuve. That's a 1-1 game. Top of the fifth, home run Aaron Judge off of Verlander 2-1 Yanks. Top of the 6th, RBI single Clint Frazier. 3-1 Yanks. Bottom of the 7th, 2-run double Robinson Chirinos off of Zach Braden. Ties it up at 3 apiece. Bottom of the 8th, infield single Carlos Correa gives the Astros a 4-3 lead. That's your final. Justin Verlander, 6 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, ERA 4.24. Masahiro Tanaka pitched pretty well. 6 innings, 3 hits, an earned run, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, ERA 1.47. Yankee bullpen couldn't get the job done. Orioles over the Athletics 12-4. Baltimore is 5-5. Oakland 6-8. Andrew Cashner to win, he's 2-1. Marco Estrada to loss, he's 0-1. Bottom of the 1st, run Trey Mancini, 1-0 O's. Bottom of the 2nd, 3-run triple for Cedric Mullins. A couple runs scored on some errors by Jurickson and Profar. 4-0 O's. Top of the 3rd, home run Josh Phegley makes it a 4-2 game. Bottom of the 4th, 2-run shot Jonathan Villar makes it a 6-2 Orioles lead. Top of the 5th, home run Mark Hanna makes it a 6-3 game. Bottom of the 6th, sacrifice fly Cedric Mullins, 7-4 O's. Bottom of the 8th, RBI single Jonathan Villar scored in 2, 9-4 O's. RBI single Trey Mancini, 10-4 O's. And an RBI single that drove in 2 for Hunter Alberto to make it a 12-4 final. Cashner, 5 1/3 innings, 9 hits, 3 runs, a walk, and a strikeout, ERA 5.28. Marco Estrada, 4 innings, 9 hits, 6 runs, a walk, and 3 strikeouts, ERA 4.7. Phillies over the Nationals 4-3. Phillies 7-2. Washington's 4-5. Sir Anthony Dominguez gets the win. He's 1-0. Anibal Sanchez the loss. He's 0-1. And Pat Neshek gets his first save of the year. Top of the 2nd, 2-run shot Kurt Suzuki, 2-0 Nats. Bottom of the 4th, home run Abdul Herrera makes it 2-2. Bottom of the 6th, home run Rhys Hoskins makes it 3-2 Phils. And another home run by Rhys Hoskins makes it 4-2 Phils. Now he's in the bottom of the 8th. Top of the 9th, home run Brian Dozier made it a 4-3 game, but the Phillies hold on. Anibal Sanchez, 5 2/3 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, ERA 6.52. Vince Velasquez starts for Philly, 5 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, no walks, 2 strikeouts, ERA of 3. So the one really bad pitch he made was the home run to Suzuki. Cardinals over the Dodgers 4-3. Cardinals are 5-5. Dodgers 8-3. Miles Mikolas gets the win. He's 1-1. Joe Kelly the loss. He's 1-2. And Jordan Hicks gets the second save of the year. Top of the 1st, Fielder's choice. Cody Bellinger 1-0 Dodgers. RBI double. AJ Pollock 2-0 Dodgers. Bottom of the 1st, home run Marcelo Ozuna 2-2. Top of the 5th, home run Corey Seager makes it a 3-2 game. Bottom of the 6th, RBI single Jose Martinez makes it 3-3. Goldschmidt scores on a Joe Kelly wild pitch to make it 4-3 Cards. That's your final. Mikolas 6 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, a walk, 3 strikeouts, ERA 6.19. Heijin Ryu got the start for the Dodgers, but he had to be pulled from the game due to, I believe it was strained left groin. Yes, it was a strained left groin. So he only pitched an inning and 2/3. 2 hits, 2 runs, a walk, and a strikeout, ERA 3.07. Bullpen couldn't really hold it together. Yes, there were some bad breaks in there as well. Mikolas had his best start. 6 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, a walk, 3 strikeouts, ERA of 6.19. Mariners over the Royals 13-5. The Mariners are off to a great start. They're 10-2. Casey's 2-7. Robbie Elias gets the win. He's 1-0. Homer Bailey the loss. He's 0-1. Bottom of the 1st. Royals actually on the board first. RBI double Adalberto Mondesi. 1-0 Royals. RBI single Alex Gordon. 2-0 Royals. Top of the 2nd. Home run Dan Vogelbach makes it a 2-1 game. Home run Dylan Moore 2-2. Bottom of the 2nd. RBI single Alex Gordon makes it 3-2 Royals. Bottom of the 3rd. RBI single Chris Owings makes it 4-2 Royals. Top of the 5th, 2-run single by Domingo Santana makes it 4-4. Top of the 6th, home run Edwin Encarnacion makes it a 5-4 game. RBI single D. Gordon makes it 6-4. RBI single Mitch Haniger makes it 7-4. 2-run double Domingo Santana makes it 9-4. 3-run shot Edwin Encarnacion. That's his second home run of the inning. He also did 2 home runs in a single inning when he was with the Blue Jays back in 2013. The score after that Encarnacion home run was 12-4. Top of the 8th, home run Jay Bruce, 13-4. Bottom of the 9th, RBI double Lucas Duda makes it 13-5. That's your final. Felix Hernandez was a pitcher that only lasted 1 inning, 3 hits, 2 runs, no walks, and a strikeout. His ERA is 4.26. He had to leave the game early due to an illness. And the bullpen held fort for Seattle with Elias and Bradford and Sadzik and Guerin. They did a nice job. Homer Bailey, 5 innings, 8 hits, 7 runs, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts, ERA of 9. So that was not a pretty outing by Royals pitching. Braves over the Rockies 8-6, a nice win for Atlanta. They're 6-4. Colorado's 3-8. Julio Teheran gets the win. He's 1-1. Kyle Freeland, the loss. He's 1-2. AJ Minter gets his first save of the year. Top of the first, 2-run shot, Ronald Acuna Jr., 2-0 Braves. Top of the third, 2-run single, Nick Markakis, 4-0 Braves. Top of the fifth, 2-run triple, Dansby Swanson, 6-0 Braves. And then Swanson scores on a wild pitch by Freeland to make it 7-0. Bottom of the fifth, Rockies get going. Sacrifice fly, Garrett Hampson makes it 7-1. 2-run home run, Mark Reynolds makes it 7-3. 3-run home run, Trevor Story made it 7-6. It was all in an eye blink, 6-run fifth inning. And then the top of the seventh, sacrifice fly, Dansby Swanson made it 8-6, and that was your final. Julio Teheran was cruising, then he fell apart in the fifth innings. 5 innings, 5 hits, 6 runs, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts, ERAs of 6. Braves bullpen held down the fort. Kyle Freeland was disappointing. 5 innings, 7 hits, 7 runs, 4 walks, 3 strikeouts, ERA 5.4. Padres over the Giants 6-5. Padres come from behind. They're down 5-0, and they win. They're 7-4. San Francisco's 3-8. Eric Lauer gets the win. He's 2-1. Ryan Maranta 0-2. He gets charged with the loss, and Kirby Yates gets his 5th save of the year. Bottom of the 4th, RBI single. Brendan Crawford won with the Giants. Kevin Pillar, grand slam. 5-0 Giants. Top of the 5th, 2-run home run. Fernando Tatis makes it 5-2. Top of the 6th, home run. Will Myers made it 5-3. Top of the 7th, RBI ground down. Manuel Margot made it 5-4 game. And Franmil Reyes hits the go-ahead home run for the Padres in the 7th to make it a 6-5 game. Eric Lauer, 6 innings, 4 hits, 5 runs, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts, ERA 4.76. Madison Bumgarner, 6 innings, 4 hits, 5 runs, a walk, and 3 strikeouts, ERA 3.32. Last but not least, Angels over the Brewers, 5-2. That's, I believe, 4 in a row for the Angels after starting 1-6. They're now 5-6. Milwaukee's 8-3. Trevor Cahill gets the win. He's 1-1. Joyce Justine the loss. He's 2-1. Cody Allen gets his 2nd save of the year. Top of the 2nd, RBI single, Orlando Arcia, 1-0 Brewers. Bottom of the 2nd, 2-run shot, Tommy Listello gives the Angels a 2-1 lead. Top of the 4th, home run, Mike Moustakas ties it up at 2 apiece. Bottom of the 4th, home run, and Andrelton Simmons made it 3-2 Angels. Bottom of the 8th, 2-run shot, Justin Bour made it 5-2 Angels as your final. Trevor Cahill, 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts, ERA 3.5. Julius Chassin, 6 in the 3rd innings, 3 hits, 3 runs, 3 walks, and a strikeout, ERA 4.24. Today's slate at 1 o'clock, you have Indians-Tigers. So the biggest surprise in the AL Central against the AL Central favorites. Corey Kluber against Jordan Zimmerman. Kluber 0-2 with a 5.23. Zimmerman, 2 no decisions with a 0.66 ERA. 2 o'clock ESPN, Blue Jays Red Sox, the home opener for the reigning world champions. Matt Schumacher against Chris Sale. Schumacher 2-0 with a 0 ERA. Sale 0-2 with an 8 ERA. I think the Red Sox are going to come out with a point to prove. They're being doubted already by people in the media. I think their offense is finally going to get rolling in their friendly confines of Fenway Park. Matt Schumacher ain't that good, even though he's ERA 0. He's off to a good start this year, but this is a mismatch. I think the Red Sox win this game somewhere in the nature of like 10-4 or something like that. And they're going to have their best performance of the year, and I think Chris Sale will look like the Chris Sale of old, at least for one start. Rays White Sox is another 2 o'clock start. Charlie Morton against Irvin Santana. Santana's making his season debut, and Charlie Morton 1-0 with a 1.64 ERA. 6:30 Marlins Reds. Jose Urena against Luis Castillo. Urena 0-2 with a 10.38 ERA. Castillo 0-1 with a 1.42 ERA. I had to talk about the brawl yesterday, or from a few days ago, with the Pirates and the Reds and the fallout. We'll get to that in a few minutes. 7 o'clock, Athletics Orioles. Brett Anderson and Jalen Means. Anderson 2-0 with a 2.38 ERA. Means has been coming out of the bullpen 1-0 with a 1.59 ERA, but today he gets the start. Nats Phillies. Steven Strasburg and Aaron Nola. Both pitchers 1-0. Strasburg's ERA is 2.84 and Nola has an ugly 7. Twins Mets from Citi Field. Kyle Gibson and Jacob deGrom. Gibson 2-0 decisions at a 9.64 ERA. deGrom 2-0 with a 0 ERA. deGrom's looked every bit as the pitcher he was from a year ago. Dodgers Cardinals at 7:45. Ross Stripling and Dakota Hudson. Stripling, no decisions with a 2.31 ERA. Dakota Hudson 0-1 with the 5.4 ERA. 8 o'clock, ESPN, Yankees, Astros. Jonathan Loaisiga against Garrett Cole. Loaisiga had a no decision with a 2.25 ERA. Cole 0-2 with a 3 ERA. I believe this will be another win for the Astros. I think the Yankees missed an opportunity to steal a game yesterday, but their bullpen is going to get the job done. I think Cole will put up good numbers. This is pretty much his audition for the Yankees because, let's face it, the Yankees are going to be in the market for a starter in free agency next fall. Yeah, they'll probably explore the trade market this summer with the uncertainty surrounding Luis Severino and his shoulder. But I think Cole sort of has to put on a good performance here to prove that he's a six-figure contract guy, meaning like $100 million or whatever. And I think he'll pitch well. I think the Astros get the job done again. Let's say 4-2 final. The rest of the 8 o'clock slate, 8:15, Mariners, Royals. Marco Gonzalez and Jacob Junis. Gonzalez 3-0 with a 3.2 ERA. Junis 1-0 with a 4.63 ERA. 8:40, Braves, Rockies. Max Fried and German Marquez. That's a great matchup. Both those pitchers 1-0. Fried's ERA is 0 and Marquez's ERA is 0.69. 9:40, Rangers, Diamondbacks. Mike Minor and Zach Greinke, both pitchers 1-1. Minor has a 4.63 ERA and Greinke has a 9.31 ERA. I think the over's a no-brainer in that game. 9:45, Padres, Giants, Joey Lucchesi and Derek Holland. Lucchesi 2-0 with a 0 ERA. Holland 0-1 with a 5 ERA. 10 o'clock, Brewers, Angels. Freddie Peralta and Matt Harvey. Peralta 1-0 with a 3.27 ERA. Harvey 0-1 with an ugly 9 ERA. NBA. Gonna go over tonight's slate with things to look out for. 7 o'clock, the Hornets at the Cavaliers. The Hornets surprisingly still alive in the Eastern Conference playoff hunt. Grizzlies, Pistons. The Pistons, I believe, are in with the win tonight. Celtics, Wizards on TNT at 7 o'clock. Celtics are sitting a lot of their guys tonight. Wizards are favored by 4.5, and I think the Wizards will win and cover. 7:30 of the 76ers at the Heat. Dwayne Wade's home finale as they are facing elimination against Philadelphia. And I think Philadelphia, despite sitting some guys, will get up for this one. I think Miami wins tonight only because of Wade. And plus it's their home finale and that fan base is going to be absolutely fired up. I wish that game was on TNT rather than the Wizards-Celtics game. 8 o'clock, you have the Knicks at the Bulls. Tankathon for the Bulls, but the Knicks have the worst record locked up, so they're going to be, I guess, trying to win. The Bulls will not be trying to win, so I think the Knicks will probably win that game. Raptors, Timberwolves. Raptors have the 2 seed locked up. Timberwolves are trying to get a good spot in the lottery. Warriors, Pelicans. Golden State has the 1 seed in the West locked up. Pelicans are tanking. 8:30, Suns, Mavericks. Both these teams are tanking. The Suns, I think, could still, in theory, be in play for the number 2 spot in the lottery. 9 o'clock, the Nuggets at the Jazz. Both those teams are locked into their respective playoff spots. Actually, no, take that back. Rockets and Nuggets can flip. And at 9:30 TNT, speaking of the Rockets, they're at the Thunder. James Harden in Oklahoma City. Houston's favorite too, and I think Houston wins and covers. They're playing for the 2 seed, and I think that there's a chance they get it because Denver has a tough game at Utah, and I think Utah wins that game. So I think Houston will jump Denver for the 2 seed. And at 10:30 at the Trailblazers at the Lakers. Blazers locked in, and the 4 seed Lakers are obviously trying to lose. The standings right now, Milwaukee has the best record in the league locked up. Toronto has the 2 seed locked up. 3's Philly. They have that locked up. Boston and Indiana, 4-5. They have those spots locked up. Brooklyn and Orlando clinched. Detroit is right now in 8th. Charlotte and Miami each a game back. And then in the West, Golden State has the 1 seed locked up. Denver and Houston can flip-flop. That's your 2-3 respectively. Portland's in 4. They're locked to that spot. Utah's locked in 5. OKC 6, San Antonio 7, Clippers 8. Those spots can change. I think OKC loses tonight, so they drop. So if the season ended today, it's Milwaukee against Detroit. So it would be Giannis against Blake Griffin. Toronto against Orlando. Terrence Ross against his former team. And then Steve Clifford, his first time in the playoffs in a while as a head coach. Brooklyn against Philly, so 2 division rivals. And there's going to be Sixers fans in the Nets home building. And in Boston, Indiana, we knew was happening last week. Golden State Clippers would be a fun series because I think the Clippers would get up for it. And Doc Rivers likes playing against the Warriors, even though the Warriors have owned the Clippers. But the Warriors really haven't owned the Clippers since the Clippers broke up that team with Paul and Griffin and Jordan. The Clippers have beaten Golden State a few times since those guys have departed. But Golden State's probably huge favorites in that series, and I would assume they'd win that series. San Antonio and Denver, that should be interesting. A lot of offense in that series. OKC Houston, so Harden against his former team. So tonight's game on TNT is a playoff preview perhaps. And in Portland, Utah is locked in the 4-5 in the West. I am going to come out later with a 3-part NHL playoff preview. Part 1 is going to be me doing my own playoff predictions for the first round and throughout, and players and coaches under pressure to deliver and other random things. Part 2 is going to be ESPN's John Buchacross previewing and predicting the first round, and we'll go over some key storylines as the lotteries tonight and some other NHL stories. And then a buddy of mine, Derek, is going to come on and talk NHL playoff preview and some of the NHL storylines as well. And we'll do a couple quick hits at the end with some other random sports events like the Masters and the college basketball game from last night and whatnot. And maybe some other things such as baseball and NBA. Now I'm going to do my way too early top 25 as we go look ahead to 2019-2020 in college basketball. Number 1, Michigan State. If Cassius Winston's back, they should be the preseason favorites to win it all. 2, Virginia. They're right there with Michigan State, but Virginia loses DeAndre Hunter, so that's a big loss, but they have some important guys coming back. Number 3 is Michigan. They have some key players coming back. That was a very disappointing loss against Texas Tech in the Sweet 16 that they had. It was pretty much a no-show by their perspective, as Beeline has some key guys returning, such as Xavier Sisson, John Teskey, Isaiah Livers, and Eli Brooks. Jordan Poole could be gone, though. That's a problem. 4, Kentucky. And by the way, these rankings would change if certain guys came back and if certain guys left. Reed Travis is going to be gone. P.J. Washington and Keldon Johnson gone. Tyler Herro might be back. Ashton Higgins might be back. I know they're probably going to get some guys in recruiting. E.J. Montgomery will be back. 5 is Duke. They obviously lose Zion, R.J. Barrett, and Cam Reddish. Trey Jones back. Vernon Carey Jr. They're going to be their big freshman coming in next year. But the returnees are underwhelming. Marquise Bolden, Joey Baker, Jack White, Alex O'Connell, Javin DeLoyer. But this is still a good team, and Coach K knows what he's doing. 6 is North Carolina. This is because I think they're going to get Cole Anthony as their big recruit. They're losing a lot with Luke May and Kenny Williams, Nasir Little, Cam Johnson, Kobe White. But my question for them is Leaky Black, Brandon Robinson, 7th Woods. Are any of those guys going to take a next step next year? That's remained to be seen. Number 7, I have Auburn, who was just in the Final Four. Yes, they're losing Bryce Brown, and that's a big deal. Chuma Okeke will be back. Jared Harper will be back. And Fernie McLemore, Austin Wiley back. They're going to have some freshmen come in. 8, Marquette. This is a team folks are high on going into next year. Marcus Howard will be back. The Hauser brothers will be back. They're getting a Utah State transfer in Kobe McEwen. So they're in good shape for next year. 9, Kansas. They're going to be losing guys in the draft, such as Dedrick Lawson. But Devin Dotson's back. Ochai Agabali's back. Marcus Garrett's back. Mitch Linkfoot's back. And David McCormick back next year. So that's good news for them. 10, Gonzaga. I am higher on Gonzaga than most. Rui Hachimura and Brandon Clark are going to be gone. Josh Perkins will be gone. But they still have Zach Norvell, Killian Tilly, and Corey Crispert. So that's good for them. 11, Louisville. Some folks are higher on Louisville than I am. But they have a good freshman class coming in. Jordan Nwora might be back, but if Nwora's back, then they'll probably be a little higher. Ryan McMahon, the sharpshooter, he'll be back. Dwayne Sutton's back. So they're in good shape. 12, Maryland. They had a pretty good year. Bruno Fernando is going to be gone, but Jalen Smith will be back. Anthony Cohen and Daryl Morcell back. They have some good freshmen coming in as well. 13, Houston. Corey Davis will be gone as well as Galen Robinson Jr., but Armani Brooks, Dejan Giroux, Nate Hinton, and Fabian White all will be back next year. And I think Kelvin Sampson looks like he'll be back, and instead of going for another job. 14, LSU, yes, Will Wade in all likelihood will be fired, but they'll still be a solid team with some recruits coming in and some other guys coming back from this year's team. 15, Oregon. They'll be much higher on this list if Lewis King returns to school. Peyton Pritchard will be back. Kenny Wooten will be back. Victor Bailey back. Will Richardson back. And they have a couple top 100 guys coming in. But like I said, if King comes back, they'll be higher when I do the preseason list. 16, Seton Hall. They have some good players coming back. Although Miles Powell, who could end up leaving, but if he's back, then they'll be higher on the list. Miles Kale's good. Sandro Macumcelli. Tareen Thompson could be a breakout guy for them next year. Number 17 is Florida State. They're a team that had a good year. They have some guys coming back and they have some other guys leaving. 18, Iowa. That's a team that has some dudes coming back, some dudes leaving, to be determined with that team a little bit. 19, Baylor. They are a team that has some guys returning. Scott Drew has done great. Kristen Clark will be back. Jared Butler, Devontae Bandu, Mark Beadle. So they're in good shape. 20, Arizona. This is my big bounce back team for next year in terms of somebody that didn't make the tournament and will be back next year. Especially if Sean Miller decides to come back and coach and doesn't get relieved of his duties. They should be in good place. They have some freshmen coming in. And if they come out of the FBI investigation unscathed, then they'll get those top 10 freshmen, and they'll be in a good position to be a contender in the 2019-20 season. 21 Villanova, to me, they're a team that has major bounce back potential after a disappointing year last year. Colin Gillespie, Sadiq Bey, Jermaine Samuels, and they have some freshmen coming in that are good. 22 Purdue, yes, Carson Edwards is gone, but they have some other guys coming back, such as Matt Harms and Travion Williams, Aaron Wheeler. 23 Texas Tech, your runners-up from this past season. Obviously, Jarrett Culver, Matt Mooney gone. Chris Beard might be gone because you never know what head coaching jobs may open up and he could bolt. I think it's more likely he stays now than he goes, especially that, which we'll get to UCLA in a minute, that job has been filled, and I thought Beard was going to get that job, but nope, I was wrong. So if Beard's back and they get some other guys to come back, then they should be a top 10 team, but they stick outside the top 10. I have them at 23. They have a top 30 freshman coming in, Jamias Ramsey, David Moretti, Kyler Edwards, and Deshaun Corprew are back. 24, Creighton. This is a team that I think bounces back after a disappointing year. Greg McDermott has some key guys coming back. Davion Mintz, Tyshawn Alexander, Mitchell Ballack among them. And number 25 is the Florida Gators. They're a team that had a good freshman class. Keontae Johnson, Andrew Nemhard, and Noah Locke. All those guys will be better and will be obviously coming back to school. Mike White's a good coach. Some other teams that I thought about putting on this list: St. Mary's, Utah State, Ohio State, and then obviously Cincinnati. Cincinnati was initially on here, but they're losing Mick Cronin, which I'll get to right now. Mick Cronin leaves Cincinnati, goes to UCLA, and I think that's a great hire for UCLA. I didn't think they were going to be able to snag Cronin away from there. I'm surprised by this hire. I thought Cronin would be a guy that would stick around at Cincinnati for a while, which he did. He had a great career at Cincinnati, but his bugaboo was that he couldn't get past the second round. And now Cincinnati moves on from a great coach. And don't forget, when Bob Huggins left there to go to West Virginia, they brought in Cronin, and Cronin thrived. I can see a similar scenario where they bring somebody in from within, or they do an external search, and that coach thrives with that program. That's just a very good program, period, end of story. There's going to be some candidates for this job. I think a logical candidate would have been Wofford's Mike Young, but Young obviously took Virginia Tech. But as CBS's John Rothstein says, the pressure now on Mike Bohn to replace Mick Cronin is immense. Hard to follow guy that's been to 9 straight big dances at a non-blue blood. And that is absolute facts. This is a big loss for Cincinnati and a huge win for UCLA. UCLA initially offered the job to Jamie Dixon. He turned them down. Rick Barnes, and he turned them down. But let's face it, I think Mick Cronin is a better coach than those guys, as well as Dixon and Barnes have done with their respective jobs. I just think Cronin's a better coach and has done more with less. So this is a great hire for UCLA. Not a sexy name per se, but it's somebody that allows the fan base to get a little excited, even though he has not made it past the second round with Cincinnati. And now he's at a blue blood like UCLA where he can get better recruits, and he could absolutely thrive there in my mind. Now I'm going to do my best bet of the day, brought to you by FanDuel. I lost yesterday, courtesy of Texas Tech losing, and a couple baseball teams let me down yesterday as well. The Astros almost let me down, but they came from behind and beat the Yankees. But without further ado, here we go. We'll go with the Charlotte Hornets, the Detroit Pistons, the Golden State Warriors. Don't feel super about the Warriors, though. The Raptors, the Mavs, only because I think Phoenix is playing for the second worst record. Portland. And then we'll go to baseball. We'll go with the Red Sox. We'll go with the Athletics, although I'm not super about it. We have to go with the Mets because DeGrom's on the bump. Honorable mention to Houston, but I think that the Yankees can conceivably win the game, so I just don't want to doubt the Yankees for a second day in a row, even though it came back to bite me, or almost came back to bite me yesterday. And then we'll also go with I'm not super about this, but we'll go with Milwaukee over the Angels. I just don't believe in Matt Harvey anymore. About 20-1 odds, wagering $1 to win $21.47. That's it for the podcast today. I'll be back later tonight with my 3-part NHL predictions playoff edition podcast. So I hope you guys have a great day, everybody.